Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper, and today we've got one of my favorite people in the community. He works hard for our kids. He really does. Kevin LesCallette from the Boy Scouts. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So you always have a lot going on. Tell me what's going on with the Boy Scouts.
We do. We have a big event coming up in May here on the Lower Shore.
And we'll talk about that because I enjoy that event.
We do.
Yeah.
But the Boy Scouts are growing on this peninsula, and they're growing here on the Lower Shore, and we're very proud of that as an organization because we pride ourselves in serving youth, serving families, and giving young men these experiences that they'll never have anywhere else.
You know, I learned so much from the Scouts, and I keep that stuff with me all the time. And the hardest thing I had in Scouts was learning Morse code. I could not learn Morse code. I had a horrible time with the semaphore signals. But I still know Morse code even today because of the Boy Scouts. I know it's a minor thing, but there was a discipline in learning that made it really, really interesting and character developing.
There is. There's a lot of skills that people get. Even if they don't stay in the program, they remember and they use those skills. You know, sometimes people say, I'll never use this anywhere in my life. And at the point that they do, they remember where they've learned it.
Right.
And we find that a lot.
And all the be prepared stuff and, you know, the rules, just an incredibly positive thing for kids.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Now you hear about it declining, but here it's not?
No, we've on this peninsula, we have hit our 5th year of consecutive membership growth. And that's due to a lot of the volunteers, the parents just jumping in and saying, we want this for our kids because we know what it does.
Right.
And then we have a dynamic staff all over the peninsula that is engaging new volunteers every day. And we're trying to find ways to engage our alumni as well. And that's not an easy thing to do because you're looking for those young people to come back after they've started a job somewhere. So we're working at that. But the more volunteers we can have in this organization, the better off our kids are going to be.
About how many Scouts are there?
There's about 1,000 here on the 4 Lower Shore counties.
Wow.
Right now, and there's over 10,000 on the peninsula. And we're just continuing to grow and reaching new families and reaching new markets to look more like our community. We have programs for at-risk youth. We have 3 camps on the peninsula, and we're just trying to do everything we can to help build family strength.
And the camps are a great asset because it's a destination, it's something to focus on, to think about.
That's right.
And just always fun to go to those camps.
Absolutely is. And studies have told us that a boy that goes to camp will stay in the program.
Really?
If they don't, they probably won't stay. So it's really a positive thing to get kids to camp.
4th grade is Cub Scouts?
It's actually kindergarten now. We have
a
new Lion Cub program that just piloted last fall. And then we go through 5th grade in Cub Scouting program. And then they'll transition into the Boy Scout program where they're going to be the leaders, planning their program, guided by adults. And then we have 2 teen programs, co-ed programs, Venturing, which is more hobby-based.
Right.
And then we have an Exploring program, which is career-based. And so we try to serve everybody up through age 21.
I hear lots of great stuff about the Exploring program, which I've never understood. Explain it to me. That's kind of a new thing.
It's been around forever.
Okay.
We're just trying to relaunch it and get people to understand it. The largest markets that we have nationally are in the law enforcement, to where a lot of police departments, local and statewide. Delaware, every police post in Delaware has an Explorer post.
Wow.
We have one at the Centerville Police Barracks, and we're just trying to reach out to more. We've got some hands working here on the Lower Shore to try and get some police departments. The other field we have is health careers, and we're trying to really make some inroads here in our local hospitals. Kent County General Hospital in Dover has over 100 teenagers in their medical exploring program. And Christiana Hospital up near Wilmington has another 100. But they get to explore through a year all the different parts of that field to where they see, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want no part of.
Right.
But then they can say, I've had a taste of it. This is what I want to do. And so it's exploring a career, and that's where it gets its name.
Interesting. Now, as the director, you do a great job as the director. Everyone in the community loves what Kevin does. But a lot of pressure to raise money, not just to operate programs, but to raise money to make sure you can fund these programs. What's that like?
It's not an easy job, and I tell you, when I first started in this job, I wanted nothing to do with fundraising, but I've kind of been taught it is fundraising, not fundraising, and I enjoy it. You know, I never thought I would, but I have a blast doing it, and I've been doing just this piece of it for about 10 years now, and I credit a former boss of mine who got me excited about it. But
who was that?
His name was Patrick Starrett.
Okay.
He was our scout executive for about 7 years here on the peninsula.
Okay.
And he's moved on now, but he got me excited about fundraising, and I enjoy that a lot. And every boss that I've had since then just keeps me excited about it. But we're funded in a lot of different ways. We have annual giving campaigns. We do a number of special events, and we'll talk about one coming up shortly.
Your breakfast is one of the best.
Yeah,
I
we have
enjoy
a
the
prayer breakfast
Yeah.
every November. We partner with veteran organizations.
It's
to
always
really
that
put
first
on.
really cold morning of the year somehow.
Always is, but that's become an exciting event
Yeah.
to just tie the Boy Scouts, the faith, and the values together, and honor veterans at the same time. And
Right.
and we just had a blast doing that. But we run about 10 special events on the peninsula, most of them being citizen dinner type things. And then we get local funding from our United Way, and all of our United Ways on the peninsula are great. And I tell you, the one here on the lower shore supports us like no other. And we do a lot of partnerships with that United Way.
It's funny, I'm involved in the United Way, so when the Boy Scout discussion comes up, there's never any argument about, it's like, well, should we, or how are they? There's never anything like that. Everyone is unanimous in understanding the importance of the Boy Scouts.
And that's great. And
that's a credit to you, I know
And we
it is.
appreciate being challenged to really take it a step further and hold us accountable for what we're doing to change the lives. And they focus on at-risk youth, which we're big on right now, is kids that just can't get the program. How can we get it to them in these hard-to-reach neighborhoods?
Yeah.
So we're all about that.
That prayer breakfast, it seems like it's been energized in the last couple of years with Mayor Day, Jake Day being an Army guy, and he comes in uniform, and a lot of guys there in uniform, and the Scouts in their uniforms. It's really very cool.
It is. It's very cool. And Chris Eccleston has been our chair the last
Chris
couple of
has
years.
been terrific.
You know, Navy guy, and he's an Eagle Scout, and he wants to give back. And he's excited a number of these young guys that are in that role to just do this as well. And his own company is engaged in with us as well. And just the prayer breakfast part of it, to gather a community, to tell our story one more way, and then bring an Eagle Scout speaker. And the one we had just this last November was dynamite.
Right.
And people still talk about that young man and what scouting can do for these teens.
I probably shouldn't ask, but you used the two words, Eagle Scout. People say to me all the time, it doesn't have the luster that it used to have. And I always say, well, then you go out and get an Eagle Scout badge, because I think it really does. But
it does.
Is there any controversy with Eagle Scouts anymore? It seems like there's more Eagle Scouts than there used to be.
No, it's still about a 4% of every
Okay.
scout that joins. About 4% will earn that rank, and it's tough to do. You know, getting from those last couple of ranks to the Eagle Scout, we lose teenage boys.
Right.
And we call it the fumes. They either they smell the perfume, the girl, or they get the car and
The
it's
car is
gasoline,
impossible, yes.
and they wander away.
Yeah.
Or we lose them to sports. And we want families to know that they can do both. And don't wait till you're 18 to try and squeak it out, because it's very tough to do.
Yeah.
But we bring leadership out of these young men in those ages to earn that badge, and they have to do a service project for their community, giving back, that totals at least a minimum of 100 hours, and most of them are more than that. But it's something that can come back years later and say, I did this.
Right.
With my troop, with my friends, we built this. And it's fun.
I remember when, I applied for college years ago. How long was it? 100 years ago? And didn't get in, went out for an interview to try to get in a second time. And the admissions guy said, if you just stuck it out in Scouts, that would have counted a lot around here. And I was like, no, I never made a connection.
That's true.
But they were looking for anything that might help get me in. Mm-hmm. And I had a great record with Scouts, and you're right, I got my driver's license, and that was it.
Yeah, it does happen. And a lot of colleges, if you have an Eagle Scout, that just bumps,
You're gonna get in.
you up. Their
Yeah.
scholarships automatic because you're an Eagle Scout. Military, you're up a pay grade because you're an Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
And they still do that. They believe because you've done something, you've accomplished something. And as a lot of other people, Senator Mathias believes in this wholeheartedly with his son, you finish what you started.
Right.
And people know that because you earned that badge.
Right. And that's a great lesson from scouting anyway.
It is.
What's one of your favorite Eagle Scout projects that you've seen? I've helped on several. I'd never do one myself, obviously, but helped on several. Do you have a favorite?
No, I like them all. They're so creative.
They are creative.
I've seen cemeteries being redone, which
just happened here. Yeah.
We've had a couple of them. I know that one of John Holloway's son did the Parsons Cemetery, big piece of that.
Jonathan, yes.
Yeah, Jonathan did
Yeah.
that. And then we had the one over by the Arby's, over off Route 50 that
Right.
was just redone. It's just fascinating what they come up with. You know, we get a number of prayer gardens at churches. If you look at several of the elementary schools, Northwestern Elementary has an outdoor teaching area, amphitheater kind of a thing. That's an Eagle Scout project. I think North Salisbury has one as well, Eagle Scout project.
Right.
And these schools are proud to use those things that kids that probably came up through that school have given back to them.
Yeah. My dear friend, Dr. James Krause, was not a doctor then, obviously, but he built the playground at the Moose Lodge.
Yep.
And drive by there every day and look over at it and think, that's something that helped the community.
That's right.
It's still there 35 years later.
It's fascinating.
It's just fascinating. So you have your big dinner coming up.
We do.
I'm still sort of a persona non grata because several years ago I gave an introductory speech to Dr. Ray Hoy, who is my all-time hero. I kind of made it into a roast, and it was supposed to be more accolades, but I thought I had the accolades in. But what an event, and to this day, people still come up to me and say, you gave a great speech 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, these events stick in people's heads.
Right.
They really do.
But it's that critical of an event.
It is.
It's beyond who's who. It's who's who, but it's also who's who of the people who are really contributing to the community.
That's right. They are our leaders in the community. And that's what makes this event special.
Right. So this year your honoree is?
We're honoring Peggy Nalepa.
Excellent
the
choice.
CEO of Peninsula Regional Medical Center and the health system. And she was so excited to be asked. We had Dr. Hoy and Marty Neat go and ask her as past honorees, and she was so gracious and said she'd love to do this.
Yeah.
And she's known as a leader in this community, and it fit.
Right. I think I've seen her exercise Boy Scout type policies, in terms of how she conducts herself and in terms of what she expects from others.
That's right. A number of our leaders in this community do. And at the prayer breakfast, Jim Purdue, put together the Scout Handbook and the Leadership Guide for Purdue.
Right.
And they side by side matched. And I think a lot of our corporations do that. Willing or knowingly or not, they know that they match well.
Right. Jim Purdue's a former honoree.
He is.
Tell me about some of the other people who've gotten this.
We've had Ron Alessi.
Great guy.
Pete Cooper, we honored
The
a few years
best.
ago, right at his 100th birthday.
Yeah, I was
We
going
had
to say
fun
he was
doing
pretty
that.
old then, and he was still really together right up to the end.
He was.
Yeah.
Palmer and Brad Gillis, we did just a couple of years ago.
Right.
And that was a fun one to do, multi-generational.
Right.
It was great. Morgan Hazel and his father
Right.
were honored at different times, John and Robin Holloway, and their parents. John's parents, we honored them a long time ago. Marty Neat, Lou Riley, some of the old
Right.
leaders in this community, mayors and town council people. It's just amazing, the cadre of people that we have honored over these years. This is the year number 33.
Colonel Cook, you got him in one year?
We did.
Okay.
And
Another great
he
Boy
is
Scout.
still engaged in this.
Right.
He is on our steering committee. He is the ultimate Boy Scout.
Yeah, Colonel Bob Cook is the ultimate Boy Scout.
He is our poster child.
And it's funny, even with Dr. Hoy, with Ray Hoy, we'll be in golf situations and people will tease him because he's so exact about the rules and how you conduct yourself on the golf course. And one day someone said, "You're such a Boy Scout." And he was like, "Thank you." I mean, it was such...
That's it.
It was the ultimate compliment for him.
That's right. It's amazing.
So Peggy is going to be it this year. How many people do you expect for this event?
At least 200.
And it's on a weeknight this year.
We moved it off of Saturdays just
Okay,
a
I
few
missed
years ago.
that. Okay.
And moved it to a weeknight. And I think we've seen more people able to come out. Weekends are just so tough
Right.
this time of year for people to give up a night. And so we moved it. It's now a Thursday night, May 11th.
May 11th.
And we're having it at the Civic Center.
Excellent.
And they're treating us so well there. They do for the prayer breakfast. And I said, let's do this
The
where people
food's
can
good
get
there
to
now
it.
at the Civic
They're
Center.
amazing
It's
there.
terrific, yeah.
They care about everything that they do there for anyone that rents the space.
Right. Do you know who's going to introduce Peggy yet? Do you
we
need me to
haven't-
do that?
We haven't. No roast allowed.
It's about 10 years since I've done it, so maybe the cycle's run out. I can go back.
We'll work on that. We'll have to work on Ray Hoy. He's our honorary chairman, and Bruce Patterson is our event chairman.
Bruce,
so
who worked for Peggy for many
he
years.
did. He did, and now his consulting firm is partnering with the hospital to help manage some of the operations that they have there too. And Bruce was excited to come back. He used to be the chair, took a couple years off,
Right.
and offered to come back to do this out of respect for someone that he worked for and truly loved working for there.
What's the dress code for this? Look
Kinda-
nice.
Yeah, it's not a formal attire by any means.
Right.
No tuxes. It's just come out and have a great night and support Peggy and support the Boy Scouts and all that we do on the shore.
Now, we talked about some of your challenges with fundraising. What are the other challenges that you face in your job?
Volunteers, just knowing, within our scouting units that we have enough parents engaged, that every one of our charter partners or sponsors, if you will, are engaged in knowing that they own that program at their church or at their Rotary Club or at their Moose Lodge, that's their program, and that they're engaged with the youth there. Parents are pulled so many different directions. We've got a lot of single parent families to where they want to be there, but they're working 2 or 3 jobs, so they need to drop Johnny off.
Right.
And we want to make sure that we have enough volunteers to make everything happen for every kid. And then we want to make sure there's enough money to do this as well.
Right.
And this outreach program, that at-risk program that we do, we raise money to help support that, to where in some sites we have to pay leaders to come in and run program. And so that's what the United Way is all about, making sure that we can run those programs in those sites that we partner with to make that happen.
It's funny, my mother was a den mother down in Ocean City, and I ran into a guy that was in our den. We had it at my house when I was a kid, and I'd not seen him in 45 years. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Your mother was the best den mother ever." And I'd completely forgotten that she was a den mother, but here it is, half a century later.
Yeah.
He still remembers her impact as a den mother.
Yeah, they were some of the best. My mother was one too, and everybody
Right.
came to our house.
Right.
And the guys that were in my den, they remember that too.
Yeah, but the volunteer aspects are important, and we all remember, our scoutmasters from way back.
Right.
My first scout troop was at Bethesda. Was it 149?
Yeah, it is.
I remember it. I can't believe I remember it.
That's my troop too.
Okay, but just a great group and learned so much.
Yeah, and the scoutmaster I had just passed away last year, Sam Dyke.
Right.
And I learned so much from him.
He used to scare me.
Well, you couldn't get away with anything if you went out walking in the woods and he'd be there and you didn't know he was coming up behind you. So
Yeah, he used to scare me, but he was very involved with the Ward Foundation.
Yes.
And I learned to identify birds from him.
Yeah.
And
Trees.
I didn't know. I was always weak at trees because I'm colorblind. So I've got to do bark. I can't always see the leaf shape. But the funny thing with Sam, there was one time he called out some ducks. And I said, "No, they were green-winged teal." And he said, "No, that was a pintail." I said, "No, it was a green-winged teal." And he got really mad at me because he knew more than I did, but it ended up that I was
Oh boy.
And I've never told that story till now. But yeah, he used to scare me
Yeah.
because he was a very smart man.
Very smart and just very level-headed, calm. He never got mad. You just knew
Yeah.
where you stood every moment. And very strong troop, and still a strong troop to this day at Bethesda.
What about some of the social stuff? I remember in Dr. Hoy's speech 10 years ago, he said that one of the things about Boy Scouts is you see a lot of good, but you also see a lot of bad. Just when you get boys together, Lord of the Flies kind of stuff.
Not so much anymore. I mean, there's some pranks I think that will go along here and there, but I think we're seeing a side of teens that understand the world a lot better than we think they do. They're more accepting of people that are different than they are. And I've watched kids grow in these troops and seen them go up through and just this next generation. We say they've got a lot to learn, but I think they know more than we think they do.
Right.
And it's interesting to watch them come through this program and teach us at the same time.
This dinner's gone on 33 years.
Yes,
What a legacy that is.
it is.
And you have scouts who participate in the dinner.
Right.
What do they do?
We have scouts that are participating in the color guard. Some, if we ask them to do the prayer for the event, that they'll do that. There's that faith part of that scouting program as well. And we'll invite a local Eagle Scout to come speak and talk about what scouting means to him. This year, because it is Peggy, we're inviting the Explore Post out of Dover, out of the Kent
Excellent.
County General, to come down and kind of show off what Exploring Health Careers does and get people excited about exploring again too.
Yeah, the year that I was there, where I was on the dais at least, the Eagle Scout who spoke really brought it all home. I mean, because there had been a lot of goofiness with what I said and all that, but The purpose of scouting, he really articulated that, and I was just blown away by the kid.
They do. It's amazing what they do.
Is there still time if I want to buy a table or buy tickets?
Absolutely. The
Okay.
invitations are going in the mail to our master list. They'll go out middle of next week. And each of our committee members has copies of a one-page invitation. But if someone wants to go on our website, it's www.dmvc.org/DCAD-LES, and it'll be on the screen,
Okay.
So people can see where to click on that.
Or just Google Delmarva Boy Scouts.
Yes, and it's on our calendar. It's already up,
Right.
ready to go. But
Right. Now, you have a video that you want us to look at.
I do. I wanted to kind of share with people kind of what scouting's about, and it's called The Impact of Scouting. And it just gives, it's only a minute and a half, but it gives people a good feel for what scouting has to offer young men and offer families.
I joined Cub Scout because my dad said I should, and he really thought it would be good for my life, and it actually was.
A lot of my friends were telling me that, oh yeah, I quit scouting, it wasn't cool. I remember turning around and talking to them, well, how many times in the past year have you gone on a whitewater rafting trip? How many times have you gone climbing? And it really inspired some of them.
When I'm wearing my uniform, I feel proud of everything I've accomplished, such as being an Eagle Scout. And I feel like I can help people when I'm in my uniform, and I know that people can rely on me when they see me in my uniform as a Boy Scout.
Scouting skills apply not only in scouting, but also in the real world as well. Last year, I was unfortunately involved in a car accident. And I know that scouting teaching me to be prepared for all situations and talking about emergency situations beforehand, like an emergency preparedness merit badge, that I was ready and that I was able to stay calm in the face of a dangerous situation because of skills I learned in scouting.
This uniform, it makes me brave, because a scout should always be brave.
My son wanted to get into scouting. He wanted me to get involved. I never had time. And then he didn't get involved in scouting. He should have done it on his own with people he knew, but he wanted my involvement, and I still feel like I failed him on that. So what do you say to people like that, who the father doesn't necessarily have time, but the kids should be involved?
Sign them up anyway. We'll find ways to engage a parent with whatever time that they have that they can give, because we know people are working sometimes 2 jobs or more, or it's a single parent. We want to make sure we'll engage them somewhere. But we've got volunteers that will take these kids under their wing and engage them with that, either that Boy Scout troop or that Cub Scout pack, in that den, whatever. We'll make sure that they can get that program and engage that family the right way.
And if I am a parent, how can I go figure out which troop I want to be in, or pack or den? I mean, how
The
how
Boy
does
Scouts
that work
have made
out?
it very simple now.
Okay.
There is a website called beascout.org, and you can go on there, you can type in your zip code, and it'll give you all those opportunities and where they meet, when they meet, and who the leader is to make a contact. Go visit, see what you think. If that one doesn't fit, the night doesn't work, go visit another one. Or you can call us at the Boy Scouts, and we'll have that number on the screen as well, and we'll help find you one in your community that's a right fit. You know, if you tell us it's only Tuesdays, we'll find a Tuesday one.
Right.
If you find one that a Boy Scout troop and your son really loves computers, we might find one that does a lot more high-tech things and robots. If you have a child that's more of an outdoors adventure, canoeing, hiking, we have a lot of those that want to do that. So, you know, we've got a lot of resources to help you find the right scouting program.
Yeah, I know, like, I fit perfect with the Bethesda one. I lived up in Forest Lake, so it was the closest one to my house. That's why we picked it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, back then, it was kind of the nerdy one. And all the cool guys were at St. Francis. So, like, if you aspired to sort of be at the St. Francis one, but I was very comfortable in Bethesda.
Yeah, and we've had people move. They just find this one's not working, it's not doing the program things I want. And we'll help people move. And
Right.
that does happen a lot. You know, we had a troop last weekend, they made their own homemade guitars. And they actually work, but they had somebody teach them how to do that, and so these kids are engaged at all ages, and it's fun.
What about the pressure of women with Girl Scouts? Do Girl Scouts want to be Boy Scouts? Is there that kind of pressure out there, or anything going on with that?
We don't find it around here at all.
Yeah.
You know, there are spots in the country where girls just aren't engaged in that, and we tell a young lady that, you know, if that doesn't work out for you and you're age 14, we have a venturing program that's more hobby-based. And if you want to do the hiking and the rock climbing and that kind of thing, you know, both programs are great, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and they do different things. Find what fits, find what is good
But
for you.
could the girls come do it with the boys? Is that acceptable, or?
Right now, it's split. So it's join the one that fits.
Right. And I can see the reasons for that.
Yeah.
Nothing against girls,
Right.
but there's just a thing that goes on among men sometimes.
Right, and you know, the boys want to do boy things, but there are girls who like to do that high adventure thing, and we've got some leaders, female leaders, that love to do that. You know, they'll go climb these mountains.
Right.
They're better than some of the men.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's tough,
Yeah.
but we've got great leaders out there.
If I'm a parent and I never was in scouting and I'm not sure how to get my kid connected, what's the procedure? What would you recommend that they do?
Visit that website, beascout.org, and it has videos, it has a lot of information on what scouting is, when it meets, how it's organized, what the fee structure is, that kind of thing. So you can get the information before you sign up. And we're about to launch an online application process as well too. You can register and you can pay online. So we're building up with the times right now to make it as easy as possible for someone to get in our program.
And can you go around and tour the different troops and sort of get a feel
Absolutely.
for it? Okay.
And we'll help people do that.
Yeah. I just heard we had a picture page in the paper from the Bethesda spaghetti dinner,
Right.
which I worked at a million years ago. It's still going, and it's bigger than ever.
It is.
How does that
there are
happen?
and other troops in town, the 151 at Asbury's picked
Right.
up, they do a great one. It's just something they do, and the Methodist men at Bethesda continue to help put that on. They sponsor them, and they believe in what it's done for kids in that troop.
Yeah, it's just an excellent event. It's every winter. It's the coldest night of the winter.
It is. It is. But the boys, you know, they have to work to make that happen. You know, it's not somebody handing it to them. They're working to raise the money to get themselves to go to camp, to go to Philmont, to go to the National Jamboree, which is coming up next summer. So some of these guys really want to make sure they do everything they can.
Right. And people, of course, can direct donate to you.
Absolutely.
So if they want to do that, how do they do that?
Always. Right on our website, dmvc.org, and they can just hit the Donate Now button, and it takes them right there.
Okay.
And they can do that on a recurring basis, multiple years, and it's fun.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Peggy Nalepa, May 11th at the Civic Center.
Correct.
Great honoree.
Awesome honoree.
And we'll have lots of people excited to show up to see her.
Absolutely.
Tickets are still available.
They are.
And go to the website.
Just go right to the website, dmvc.org, and just click on that May 11th date, and it'll take you right to the event.
Okay. Anything I forgot to ask?
I can't think of anything that we didn't cover. I just want scouting to be available to every young man, and as they get to the teenage years, every young lady that wants to be a part of those teen co-ed programs. Come check us out.
That's great. He's Kevin LesCallette. He's really doing something in our community. Everyone loves what Kevin does. Kevin, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.